The Rascal Brothers start a business. Today is a very special day because today is the day that the Rascal Brothers graduate from Bark E. Ruffington High School. After the ceremony, the brothers are quickly pondering their future. "What are we going to do now?" asked Chase of his brothers. "Now that we are adults, we can make our own decisions, but how will we take care of ourselves?" "I know!" exclaimed Shadow. "Let's start our own business. We can set our own schedule and work together." "Great idea," remarked Max. "We can use Mother's famous biscuit recipe and sell treats to the community. We'll be a success in no time." "What are we waiting for?" said the brothers excitedly. "Let's get started!" 4 months later. "We are how much negative?" yelped Max. "But we've delivered so many biscuits. How can that be?" "Yeah, I thought we'd be catching frisbees in Hawaii by now. When does the success kick in?" added Chase. "Maybe we'd better seek some advice," suggested Shadow. "Mother's accountant, Mr. Rintin Sniffington, will know what to do." "Well, call him already," yipped Chase. "So tell us, Mr. Sniffington, do we have to get regular jobs?" inquired Chase eagerly. "I sure don't want to ask for my old job back at the tennis ball factory." "Is there any hope for our business, Mr. Sniffington?" followed Max. "Actually, boys, your business is doing just fine," replied Mr. Sniffington. "You see, you've been keeping your records according to the cash basis method of accounting. This method tends to leave revenues understated and therefore inaccurately represents the health of a business." "The Hooty-Wuddy method?" asked the Rascal Brothers. "Ha ha ha! It's quite simple, boys. Just basic accounting, really," chuckled Mr. Sniffington. "Let me explain. Under the cash basis method of accounting, companies record revenue when they receive cash and expenses when cash is paid out. So far, you've been purchasing supplies, baking biscuits, and delivering orders. Since all of those activities are considered expenses to a business, you've only seen cash leaving your company. As I mentioned before, the cash basis accounting method fails to recognize revenues owed. So that is why it seems as though you are in the negative. If you had been using the accrual basis method of accounting, you would have been recording transactions in the periods in which the financially impacting events occurred. In other words, you would have recorded revenues when services were performed, regardless of cash received, and expenses when they were incurred. It is for this reason that the accrual basis method of accounting is widely used by companies. Only the accrual basis method of accounting meets the generally accepted accounting principles by following the revenue recognition principle and the expense recognition or matching principle. For example, as you have been accepting biscuit orders, you should have been following the revenue recognition principle by recording the revenues of the biscuit orders, regardless of the fact that you have yet to receive the payments. And then you simply let the expenses follow the revenues, as we accountants like to say, by recording those expenses incurred which worked to generate the revenues earned, in order to follow the expense recognition principle. But don't just take my word for it. Here are the numbers from your business to demonstrate what I have just explained. "Wow, what a difference!" exclaimed the Rascal brothers. "We're rich!" smiled Chase. "Now we can take that vacation we've been dreaming about. I can already taste the salty frisbees." "Not so fast there, Chase," replied Mr. Sniffington. "My services are $60 per hour. My secretary will provide my invoice to you in the waiting room. But don't worry, the bill isn't too high, and with your success you and your brothers are having, you'll be tasting salty frisbees all over the world if you wish." "Gee, thanks, Mr. Sniffington. We really appreciate your expertise." The end.